Breaking news. You need to watch this.
When I see the Make America Great Again, my comment is, do you accept that that could possibly be construed as a racist remark? And most people, a lot of people go, how could that be racist? Make America great again? I said, so just ask yourself from an African-American experience, when was it ever great in America for the African-American? When was it great? So if you're making it great again, it's not including them. So it's to teach us in the woke world to open up and accept the possibilities that our privilege has created blind spots for us. And we need to exhale and breathe in and allow an expansion of our experience and our minds to be able to say, maybe I haven't seen what is really happening yet in all my years.
The American dream ain't real, never was. It's a bedtime story they tell the poor so we don't wake up and burn the whole system down.
When you say we ain't mad enough, I can't help but to wonder, who the f*** are we? Since the arrival of Christopher Columbus and the beginning of slavery, it really hasn't been a moment where Black Americans were not angry. So to be mad is an understatement. What the world has witnessed happening in Minnesota has been the Black American experience since the arrival of the colonizers. And I'm not saying this to demean the sufferings of any other race in the United States of America. It's just that when you say we ain't mad enough, again, who the f*** are we? Because being mad for many Black Americans is an understatement.
Let me make something very clear. The reason a lot of people don't have empathy for the I Left MAGA crowd is because y'all are still trying to rewrite the story.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. You know, I've come to realize, or I've come to learn that white people suffer from superiority complex, a lot of them anyway, right? And for this reason, they don't realize or they didn't expect to live a life of struggle similar to or worse than Black people.
Right. And this is the reason why I've also realized that in American politics, sometimes people vote for selfish reasons, especially the white race. And there was a white guy who once came and said that when white people vote, they vote for power, but when Black people vote, they vote for representation. And because of this, white people will always vote in a selfish way. Not all of them, but most of them do. And they will come to the internet and cry about it to Black Americans, especially when they want Black Americans to use their own bodies to go to the street to help them protest against a certain issue. Why are we saying this, guys? Let's watch this episode that we prepared for you today, and then you come back and talk about it. You can also let us know what you think about this episode down in the comment section, and consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. Let's watch.
Let me make something very clear. The reason a lot of people don't have empathy for the I Left MAGA crowd is because y'all are still trying to rewrite the story. And guess what? We're not buying it. You want people to believe you voted for cheaper groceries, better jobs, tax breaks. No, you didn't vote for policies. You voted for a feeling. And let me say the part people dance around. You weren't tricked. You agreed. You agreed with the tone. You agreed with the direction. You agreed until it started affecting you. And that's the part people don't want to say out loud, because now it's, he lied. We didn't know. We were misled. No, people told you over and over again what this was. Not quietly, not subtly, but out loud and in your face. And every time you dismissed it. Things like, he's not serious. He's just talking, or it won't actually happen. So let me give you another line you might not like. You didn't leave MAGA. MAGA stopped working for you. That's why this feels different now. Not because something new was revealed, but because now it's uncomfortable. Now it's hitting closer to home, and now you're feeling it. And suddenly you want grace. You want understanding. You want people to separate you from it. But that's not how this works. You don't get to help build something, defend it, excuse it, normalize it, and then step away from it like it had nothing to do with you the second it stops benefiting you. That's not growth. That's convenience. Real growth sounds like I saw it, I ignored it, but I chose it anyway. Until that level of honesty shows up, people are going to keep looking at you sideways. Because this was never just about one man. It was about what people were willing to stand next to as long as they thought it wouldn't cost them anything. And now that it does, now we're supposed to clap because you're leaving? Not gonna happen. This isn't about punishing people forever, but it is about this. You don't get immediate trust. You don't get automatic redemption. And you definitely don't get to pretend you had nothing to do with it. You weren't fooled. You made a choice. And now you've got to own it.
White supremacists have started creating edits in order to lure young white people into white supremacy. And when I say edits, I mean edits. Like, it's a racist caricature of a black person. That's how the video starts. And then it ends up with American eagles and screeching and showing beautiful or attractive white people. Here is an example of a video like that. As you can see, the point of this video is to demonize black people or brown people and to literally say white people are the best. It's the subtext of reading between the lines, and this type of video is getting pushed out like crazy. Literally, just look how many likes there are. I had so many of my followers tag me in this video saying, hey, like, you should make a video about this. And so if you are a parent and you have white children, you really, really need to make sure that they are not consuming this type of content. This is the way that white supremacists are fully indoctrinating young kids. White parents already teach their kids racism for the most part, but to see it explicit and glorified is extremely concerning, especially because social media is not going to prevent these videos from being shown. They enjoy pushing this content out. So please be mindful of what you're consuming, and if you see any racist edits like this, immediately do not watch them and report.
I'm sorry to say it, but you know, a couple years ago, I was one of the people that was like, man, guys, not everything is about slavery, like, you're reaching. And then I started learning history, and I was like, oh my gosh, everything goes back to slavery. I'll like look up like a law, I'll be like, where did this law come from? It's like, law was made specifically to keep white rich people in power and prevent certain people from voting. And I'm like, holy cannoli, goes back to slavery. Interesting. I was looking up Wall Street. You know, Wall Street used to be the base of a slave trade. Not necessarily surprised. Abraham Lincoln, the person that I was personally taught in school, like, ended slavery single-handedly. He actually, like, didn't even care about ending slavery, didn't care about equality really at all. It was completely politically motivated. Yeah, it all goes back to slavery, my guys. It's pretty crazy. Just start looking stuff up. Where did this come from? What's this about? Why did this start? Slavery. Holy cannoli.
Why does it feel like there is a full court press to get black people's attention right now? It's coming from all sides. Everywhere I look, it feels like there are people who are trying to get their revolutions off the ground, and they keep coming to black people to get us involved. But then when we remind them that this is not our time, you know, we have a long history of protesting, fighting for civil rights for all people. We've been doing this for generations, and we collectively agree that this is not our time to be at the forefront. Yet nobody respects that. Nobody wants to honor that. Nobody understands where we're coming from. Maybe not nobody, because I do see a lot of people who echo our sentiments and understand why we are saying what we are saying. But the ones who don't are mighty loud, and they're mighty arrogant, if you ask me. People quoting saying that you can't fight for freedom from the comfort of your couch. People saying, oh, you guys are going to understand when it comes to you. People saying, hey, we know that you guys feel how you feel, but can you just put it aside for this one time? Can you let go of that sentiment for this one time and come back out here? Or people just getting angry, right? Just getting full-blown angry and just, again, laying the problems of society at our feet. I don't know how else to get this message across to anybody who does not understand where the Black community is coming from right now during this administration. This is not normal. We know that. And we understand that they have a playbook specifically designed for us if we get out there and start protesting. The things that these people are doing right now is exactly what they wanted to do in 2020. I believe if he had the power to do what he wanted to do in 2020, he would have also had the sentiment of the people behind him. Because when Black people step out to speak up, it is very easy to twist the narrative and make us the bad guy. Historically speaking, in this country, it has been very easy to do that. So once again, us resting right now, us not being out there right now, is bigger than just not wanting to be a part of the fight. It's more significant than just trying to win this revolution from the comfort of our couch. This is how we protect everybody during a time like this. Because if they were able to use us the way they want to use us right now, it would accelerate our descent into fascism. It would expedite all of this military stuff. It would expedite any and every attempt that this administration would make to send troops to whatever city they wanted to send. But because we are not taking that bait, you guys are safe. So when you come around getting upset at us for not being active in what's going on, when you come around trying to lecture us about how we need to be involved in what's going on, you are not paying attention to what's going on around everybody. And maybe if you stepped back and listened to us for once, you would see that the strategy has changed for a very specific reason.
My point today is, well, not today, but at this moment, like, why does Black joy bother some white people? You ever notice how the group of Black folks, like, they come together laughing, dancing, and just vibing, and suddenly is labeled as too loud, too ghetto, or too much? Jealousy. You know why? Because they couldn't strip that away. And it's surviving. But let's be real. It's not about the volume that's the problem. It's the vibrations. It's the freedom. It's the fact that we can still find joy after centuries of trying to be stripped of who we are. We still make something out of nothing. You understand? See, Black joy is like disruptive in certain people. It challenges. And where we're supposed to be broken and angry and silent, it's like loving, living, and celebrating. So it's not just confusion. It's threatening to a certain group of people.
Why do you think they're covering the sun? We're about to activate. We've already activated. And I love this comment so much. I wish I could pin it. We've already activated. Look what's going on. Look at what's going on. Think about how blatantly racist everyone is on the internet right now. Do you know why? It's because we're not complicit. We don't put our heads down anymore. I've been seeing so many videos of us literally physically fighting back when we've been confronted with violence. This is a new timeline. It's only been literally like maybe 60 years, 65 years since the civil rights movement. White people used to beat they used to whip our ass. They used to hang us from trees like strange fruit. They were still eating us in the 60s. We don't talk about this. Literally, we experienced the most heinous things after the so-called slavery was abolished in the 1900s in this country. They stole our lands. They flooded us out. They burned and bombed everything. But now we're waking up. Even though they try to co-opt woke, they fucking steal and colonize everything we come up with. But we're all waking up and we're collectively getting on one band, one sound, and everybody's losing their shit. That's why they're coming out the woodworks, like saying, oh, and of course, you know, the president makes them feel like they don't have to hide anymore. But the fact that we have a voice to say something back, this is why I can't do it on here. But on my YouTube channel, I say the most vile stuff to these people. When they talk to me crazy, I go for the jugular because we are activated. And this is, I feel like right now we're kind of like in phase 1 of finding a voice, identifying ourselves as who we are. We're not centering any other ethnicities. We're not centering anyone else. And that's why other people losing their shit over that, because they're so used to being centered. We've never centered ourselves as Black Americans. We've always been super inclusive while being disrespected, disregarded, abused. We're like the kid that was constantly bullied, and now we're fighting back because we have been activated. And it is so fucking beautiful to see. What a time to be alive. I am extremely grateful to be alive to witness this. We are all living our ancestors' wildest dreams. To have autonomy, all of the things that they fought for, all of the things that they withstood, all of the strife, a lot of them did not survive. We are the ones that survived. It just makes me feel... I feel like I want to cry. Like, words can't describe. Like, we are the ones that survived. Do you know how fucking powerful that is? And this is phase 1. And I'm saying this is phase 1 because we're starting to have the conversations. We're starting to fucking put our foot down. We're starting to embrace who we are fully. This is some new ass shit. This is some new age ass shit, and everybody's losing their fucking minds. I am so proud. I truly am. Phase 2, I know I have an idea of what phase 2 is going to be, but I'm not about to say it on here. But we're going to start to gather in the physical and start working on phase 2. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. We're activated. I'm so happy.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the videos you just played, yeah? You know, before you even go far into this video, I just wanted to ask a question out of curiosity. Black Americans, do you really think there was ever a time, like generally speaking, there was ever a time that America was great for Black people? If you do have an answer for that, and if you do think so or not, kindly let us know down in the comment section, yeah? Because for white people, a lot of them have
nostalgia about when America was great again, and I do understand them because in their eyes,
a very different point of view.
Yeah, they see America through very different lens compared to how Black Americans see it, right? Because these are the very same people who enslaved Black Americans, and most of them used Black Americans as slaves to work their farms and do work for them. And white women just stayed at home and let Black women raise them. Who wouldn't want to experience such kind of life, and who wouldn't want to champion for it to be back, because they made a lot of money and family generational wealth through that system, and that is why they are fighting for that system. But why would you come onto the internet and without any accountability, or because of your lack of accountability, ask people who went through traumatic experiences to stop talking about it, or to ask the very same people to stop reminding you that whoever you voted for is giving you exactly what you voted for? And even if you got the short end of the stick, you don't want to be reminded because it is hurting you right now.
Yeah, and you look at those people who chose to vote for Trump, a lot of them, MAGA supporters, yeah, these are the kind of people, really, you ask yourself, why is it that in Trump's government, a lot of racists have become so emboldened to come out and treat people in broad daylight, to treat people the way they feel, like, you know, just because they feel like America, some people should not be living in America, you know, people need to go back to where they came from. Why is it that in Trump's government, we are seeing a lot of police cases that are coming up? You know, it's kind of like indiscipline, and people are feeling bold to do what they've been wanting to do, yeah? Why is it in Trump's government that we are seeing a lot of cases come out of Black people being unalived, either that through, like a fruit on the tree. I don't want to say it, but that paints a picture. In Mississippi, things are happening, and right now, that particular state is going viral, not for the right things. As Black people who live outside America, we look at the things that come up on the internet, and genuinely, I get concerned for Black Americans. You ask yourself, is it fair for people to continuously be living in this kind of fear just because people have refused to reform laws to protect everybody? It's like when they create rules, they only create it for a specific type of people, and for the rest, there's no sort of protection or justice that is rendered towards them,
Right.
And you ask yourself, why is it that you feel like it should make nation news or it should become a worldwide concern when you can't afford food, when on the same breath, even when Black Americans tried coming out with such concerns before even Trump,
nobody cared about their concerns.
Right. They tried bringing light to these situations and grievances. But what were they told? A lot of white Americans kept on telling Black Americans, stop being lazy, just go out and get yourself a job, Right now, if these same white Americans, why are they complaining about poverty or not being able to afford food yet they have jobs? It's because of the long assumed laws that were made to harm Black people. And right now, it does not discriminate. It's cutting across all races, provided you fall under the line of a commoner, you're gonna get affected by these laws. And this is exactly what white people are learning real quick.
Right. And for the longest time, the reason why white people felt that poverty only belonged to Black people and only suited Black people is because they were for the longest time sheltered by systemic injustices that was putting down Black Americans. They were sheltered by systemic racism that would deny Black people opportunity but would put their names first in terms of them going to look for jobs, So these are some of the scenarios that made them get way ahead of life, and the ancestors, most of them built generational wealth because of these very same systemic injustices. So them they didn't take time to critically think why they thought that poverty belonged to Black Americans. Black Americans had to build whatever they had from the ground up, from a system where they weren't being paid for their labor. They were only working for free for their enslavers, right? So coming from that to building whatever they have built right now, white America cannot understand how some Black Americans have caught up financially and economically to them. They cannot understand how, when they are complaining about the policies that Trump has passed through, the policies that are impoverishing them, they cannot understand why Black Americans are not coming out in equal numbers as them, complaining about the same issues.
Right. For the longest time, Black Americans had to create an endearing environment in order to survive or move forward in America,
Exactly.
And it would seem white Americans are at that point where they have to also create an endearing environment in order to live through the government of the person they chose. And right now, it's becoming a little bit difficult for them. And so that is a shock to their system because they're not used to living in survival mode. That is the very same reason why you'd come into Africa or go to the Philippines or go to where, and you'll find people who think there can never be a poor white person because of the kind of propaganda or picture that they laid in front of the world, right? So right now, internet is also helping in exposing a lot because we get to see also poor people. And I'm not celebrating anybody's suffering, but you're just trying to compare and contrast. Where was the world when Black people were crying out that there were no job opportunities in America? It's not that for them. It's not that they weren't there. It's that they had policies that worked against Black Americans. Therefore, they couldn't find jobs, finding a home, redlining, school districts. These things are things that really impacted the Black American community in a huge way that white Americans could not understand. What I can say is, at least right now, it's not that we're happy they're suffering, but they get a taste of what the Black American community was going through next time. Hopefully, they will vote, wiser.
Right. So, guys, let us know what you think about this episode down in the comment section. Also, consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and we'll see you on our next episode.